Hello everyone, this is Jaime Rivera from Pocketnow.com.
And this is Anton Didnt.
And MWC has just finished. We're here at Barcelona. Everything's being packed up here at the Fira. And well, let's talk about the things that we liked about the show and obviously what we didn't like. Okay, so our general thoughts about MWC was that, well, the show was well organized. I could probably say that it was even better organized at CES, at least transportation-wise, at least the booths-wise. I think the companies brought even more stuff, but I was, again, just like CES, expecting more. I wish I could have seen more devices. Yesterday's MWC was probably a little bit bigger, and I don't know, I feel that everything was just incremental.
Yeah, right, because, you know, device-wise, I was at least personally expecting more quad cores. Everything was about quad core, the anticipation, the buzz, but we got a couple of phones which were quad core, then a couple of tablets, but at the end of the day, it was either quad core for Wi-Fi or 3G only. Because of the limitations, some went with Snapdragon dual cores. So it's a little bit iffy. Plus, ice cream sandwich. It was missing, we had it, but still we had some phones like Sony phones which were running gingerbread.
Exactly. Yeah, we had HTC running, for example, they had ice cream sandwich, but just think about it. I mean, they brought their 1V was it? Yeah, 1V. And it wasn't even ready for the show. And well, we were expecting the HTC Quattro, nowhere to be found. So MWC was good, but frankly, we were expecting something better.
Okay, now, so about Android, and this is the fourth show. It was this year's MWC, it was last year's MWC, it was this year's CES, and last year's CES, Android was all over. I mean, Windows Phone, of course, was present, but they are still playing catch-up. We saw 3 phones, 2 Nokia and 1 ZTE phone, and we saw millions of Android phones. I think Android, it's got what it takes to be present on the market. They are constantly pushing with updates, with new incremental versions. Windows Phone is still catching up, and of course, other platforms are insignificant.
Yeah, probably one of the things that I like the most about Android is that definitely we wanted to see ICS in everything, but I have to agree with Tony in the fact that we saw more ICS this year than we saw gingerbread last year. True. So definitely things are working better. It seems that Android, Google are working better with OEMs and pushing ICS to their new devices and not having Froyo devices being launched in the quantity that we had last year in comparison to gingerbread. So yeah, I feel that the state of Android is positive. It's innovating. ICS is where it has to be. Joe Levi disagrees a little bit in his past editorial, but I understand Joe in the fact that, well, it could be better. It should definitely be better. It should be even more unified. But I think that Google's doing a good job, and we'll probably see even better innovation in shows to come, probably CTIA. Okay, let's talk about the state of Windows Phone. I mean, honestly, Microsoft is one of those companies that even rents the hotel at the other side of the road just to come all out with everything. We were expecting more about Windows Phones. I mean, we pretty much, like Tony introduced right now, we only got a couple of devices. There's nothing new about some of them. I mean, we're really not sure what's going on with Microsoft. We were expecting this really big boom, but sadly, the whole show floor was taken by Windows 8 in a Mobile World Congress. Surely Windows 8 is going to be all about tablets eventually, but it currently is, and it's still in customer preview, so I don't know what's going on.
I think maybe that's normal. Maybe they are somehow preparing for Windows 8 and maybe Windows Phone 8 and leaving Windows Phone 7 as it is right now. We were expecting Tango, and the only device running Tango was the new ZTE Orbit. We were expecting some new phones, like we had seen the LG Miracle Windows Phone being leaked, or maybe the new Sony prototype, which has been leaked last year. Yeah. But instead we got 2 Nokia phones, the 900, which is really not a new phone. It was introduced with AT&T over at CES, and the new 610. Really, 3 phones, Microsoft, this is not the A game. This is by far
not even high-end. I mean, the Lumia 900 was pretty much the only high-end phone. Yeah, but it's an old phone. Exactly. So, kind of disappointed at Windows Phone. We love the platform. I mean, hey, you're an MWC. You're an MVP. I mean, we love the platform. We couldn't agree more with where Microsoft is taking things. We just wish we saw more momentum. So again, this could probably be a show floor for CTIA for Windows Phone. We're hoping that's going to be the story. We were expecting there's one more thing. I mean, Windows 8, and probably say, hey, this is Windows Phone 8, which is Apollo, and here's what's coming up, probably being released in the fall. This was the perfect time frame for that to happen. Sadly, it's not happening right now. And one
more thing, I was expecting maybe at least one HTC Windows Phone.
Agreed.
Of course, they had something at CES, but I was
the Titan 2 is...
I was expecting the Titan 2 to be launched in Europe.
Oh yeah, true. That's a good point.
Or
the
maybe a low-end
camera coming, it wasn't the case. And that's another thing. I mean, no 16 megapixel camera coming to the 1 series.
No, I mean, but we have the 808, and we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we talk about a couple of things which we did not like, let's see what we really liked. And I'm referring to devices. What were those hot devices which impressed you, and maybe what were those devices which will be your next devices? As far as I'm concerned, my next phone will be the same as my next tablet. It's the pad phone. It's something new, it's something interesting, it's a concept which we all know about, and this goes for Android. Of course, it's ICS. And as long as Windows Phone is concerned, I'll have to go with the Lumia 900, but really...
because you don't have any choice.
Exactly. But maybe, just maybe, I'll pass on the Lumia 900 and get the PureView 808. I love that phone. How about you, Jaime?
Okay, in my case particularly, I think HTC was the company that went all out this year. I mean, the 1 series was probably what we were expecting. Every other HTC phone looks exactly the same, so it's like, why not just make 1 series of phones and keep the same name? The 1X is definitely going to be my next device. I probably debated, why did we get polycarbonate on the 1X and why did we get the aluminum backing on the 1S? But still, I mean, I think that the specs of the 1X are beautiful. The whole ecosystem around the 1X with the whole car dock, with the whole media hub that we reviewed, I think that the whole banana looks just promising for the future. HTC, I think they figured it out. I think they figured out that it's not just about the phone. It's not just about a ton of phones. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing one thing and doing it right. So I think the 1 series is probably the best thing. I mean, aside from that, well, tablets, I'd have to agree with you. I like the pad phone, but then
you take the phone, I'll take the tablet.
Okay, the tablet.
It's not going to work without the phone.
I know. But still, I feel that if it wasn't the 1X, for example, we definitely got the Sony Xperia S that we're currently reviewing. This is probably the second phone that I liked, and probably the reason why I liked it, and we're going to show you in a video soon, is about the smart tabs. I mean, they figured some of the smart tags, smart tabs, the NFC technology that's built into these phones and the whole ecosystem around them, all the apps that are included in the phone and the software review that we'll show you soon. I think that it's really good. And then, well, aside from that, the Asus, the other transformer, the Infinity 700 was really good. We had a lot of really good devices, and then we had a lot of Chinese devices that we're not even going to talk about. So that was the good part. Let's talk about the bad now.
Okay, so talking about the bad things, let's start with the phones. Everybody knew that there will be no Samsung Galaxy S3 at the show, but Samsung brought a couple of low-end, mid-end phones like the Samsung Galaxy Beam, the Ace 2, the Mini 2, and the Galaxy S Advance. I mean, those are new phones, of course, but people want to see high-end devices. They want to see quad-core. That aside, ZTE, and this is a personal experience of mine. I wanted to film a hands-on with a ZTE tablet. It's a quad core, it's got Tegra free, and I picked up the unit, and it not only had no Gorilla Glass on it, it had plastic, and it was full of scratches like my sunglasses. So I decided to ask for another unit, and they didn't have one, so I just passed on that video. Poor, cheap devices. They're of course low-end, cheap budget devices, but I think they should do better.
Okay, my biggest disappointment here was LG. I mean, I think that LG still can't figure it out. First of all, well, they brought a couple of good phones, but you saw a review of the 4X. I mean, it completely crashed. And here's the deal. A lot of people in the YouTube comments are telling us, hey, you're being too hard on them. It's like, this is a show floor and it's open to the press. We're definitely going to bash something that doesn't work. And sadly, none of the LG devices worked as we expected.
If it's not final, why show it?
Why show it? Exactly. I mean, I think that, yeah, we're complaining about the HTC One V not even being available, but I think that was like the smartest thing to do. If it's not ready, if the ROM is not ready, just don't come and show it. I mean, we can't talk good about something that's unfinished, and for them to not having enough respect for the press to do things completely well for us to either talk good about it or talk bad. So
hey, you've been told that the experience will be the same as on the 1X.
Exactly.
So they told you so.
Exactly. So in my case in particular, for example, LG needs to figure it out. Their new UI for Android looks good, but it was crashing, it wasn't working. And then, hey, the L7, L3, L5, forget about those phones. I mean, we started filming the hands-on of the L7, and you know, I'll probably upload it just to have it there in YouTube, but to be honest with you, it wasn't even worth it. It was a terrible device. Sadly, nothing that I was expecting. And then, obviously, Huawei. Why didn't we even, we had a couple of videos of Huawei. We could also upload those just to have them in YouTube. Yeah. But sadly, guys, I mean, Huawei, they went all out. They had cars, they had the show floor, everything said Huawei. Everything screamed Huawei except their phones and except their tablets.
Yeah, except that one Essence phone, which we really saw at CES. They brought it to MWC. It's a little bit of improvement, but it's not the A game which they need to get into the market.
Exactly. That's the only way they're going to get a
Yeah.
game. So sadly for us, I mean, I feel that LG, come on, you're capable of more. You're right now on the rocks. You really need to do some work. So next time, let's hope that you get your act together. You really need some top people. Your engineering, the design was beautiful, but if the software's not there, it's not going to sell.
Yeah, and Motorola, they brought nothing.
Let's forget
Nothing.
about Motorola.
Okay.
They didn't even bring anything to CES.
True.
Oh, so anyways.
That's it.
Okay, so to end our MWC coverage, let's talk about our biggest winners and our biggest loser. In my particular case, Tony, I have to be honest with you, I think that definitely Sony went all out, but Gingerbread totally killed them. You got the sticker on the boxes that says it'll be upgradable to ice cream sandwich. But
Question when?
Question when. No specific dates. They said end of April. Sony could have been the winner if only they would have brought ICS on their phones. My biggest winner right now is HTC. They've not only brought ICS, but I'm a big fan of Sense.
Sense 4.0, man.
Sense 4.0 was beautiful. Again, it was sluggish in the dual core. I hope they refined it in the end. When we tested in the quad core, it was definitely there. I feel that HTC is on the right track. For me, they're the biggest winner. And obviously, for me, the biggest loser, sadly, LG. I was expecting more, as I mentioned. And, well, tablets, well, you know, I was waiting for more tablets. That's my particular case. I mean, what's your biggest winner, for example?
Well, there's not too many to choose from, really, but ASUS really had 3 great tablets on the show. They got quad-core and they got the pad phone. That's an awesome product. I don't know if it will sell well, but it's a new concept. So for me, definitely, ASUS is the winner in tablets.
If they price it right, it's gonna be a killer.
The price is what I'm afraid of, most.
Yeah.
And in terms of phones, I'd say that the biggest loser is Nokia. Of course, they got the 900 and they got a PureView 808, but everybody expected more. They're Nokia. Everybody wants them to rule the market as they once ruled it.
And this is their market, I mean,
Exactly, it's home turf.
Okay, so right now what we've got next is CTIA, and we've also got something that's coming in next week, the iPad 3 event.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that this was the opportunity for companies to tell the market, hey, forget about the iPad. This ASUS tablet is better. And then you look at the ASUS coverage and the ASUS exposure. I mean, they had their booth, everything was nice. No fancy keynote, no great show.
Small booth?
Yeah, I mean, ASUS was probably the biggest winner in tablets. There was no sluggishness on ICS on the ASUS tablet. They performed perfectly. I think ASUS is probably going to be like the winner in tablets from here on. Sadly, the HTC Quattro, nowhere to be found, if it ever will happen.
Nobody knows that, but ASUS should have tried to push the tablets harder. Everybody knew the iPad 3 was coming. As Jaime said, this would have been their chance.
This would have been their chance. We already obviously know that Android totally dominates the market. It doesn't really matter if Apple brings any more iPhones. Android would still be the dominating platform. But again, tablets. This was the show for tablets, and sadly it wasn't. It could be CTIA, we're not really sure, but it could be that companies are waiting for the iPad 3 to come out for them to come out with whatever they're going to come out next. Yeah, sure. Probably CTIA is going to see more phones and more tablets than ever. We'll show you. Of course, IFA. So we're definitely going to be covering each of these events. Hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you very much for watching our coverage. Tony, it was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
Spending the floor with you. Lucian, you got the coffee, man?
By the way, the coffee was excellent.
Yeah, the coffee was excellent. So, guys, thank you very much for sticking around. We hope you loved our coverage. And again, if you didn't, or you think we could do something better, leave us a comment down below. Thank you very much.
Thank you.